horizontal? Wait, maybe. Come on, baby. Come on. Oh, hold on. Oh, I was trying to be all cool about it. That's what I get. Okay. I'm new to this live crap. I thought you could go horizontal in a live, but apparently not. Hello, everybody. All you sexy, sexy people. How you doing? 15 of you. 15 thumbs up, and this shindig didn't even start yet. That's pretty cool. How y'all doing today? This is my this is my first live Q&A, so bear with me as I navigate through this. Um, I just kind of I've watched a lot of other live Q&As, so I don't know. I had a few people asking me for them. I had people asking me for Q&As while I was hiking, but I'll be honest with you, when I was hiking the trail, the last thing I wanted to do at the end of a long day was do a Q&A. So wander forward on the AT. How you doing? Then we have Grammy Karen. We have Adam. We have Desiree. How y'all doing? It's great to be here. It's been, I guess, a month and a half since I wrapped up my AT hike. And thank you. Thank you. I am a completely different person from when I started the hike. I am I go through moments where I have to remind myself that um, I can't go back to regular pre-trail life. Like I have to keep pushing forward, pushing north in my everyday life here. Yeah, I'm human. I have my ups and downs, highs and lows, left and rights, whatever, and doing the best I can here. I'm starting to learn that a lot of what I talked about on the trail was easier to talk about on the trail than it is to incorporate in my everyday life. But I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out. I just came out of the woods, so I'm readjusting to my readjustment. Joy, how you doing? Jeannie, how you doing? Jennifer, Jason, Mark, Lost Sloth, the Lost Sloth. He's going to be starting a through hike in the next month or two as well. And Caveman, thank you. Yeah, it's been a weird. I'm not gonna lie, I really haven't done much. I keep trying to find the motivate. Excuse me. Keep trying to find the motivation to go on more hikes, but I think I'm still pretty sore from the AT. And eh, Art, hey Sam on the approach trail, no water. Yeah, you're right. John, thank you. Mark is gonna start his AT through hike mid March, so I better start saving money because I have a lot of trail magic to do. I just got done, yep, and you can follow him on M&M on the trail. And yeah, I just got done with the Batona Trail. It's a 52.7 mile trail through South New Jersey. It kicked my ass. I am so sore right now. My quads are killing me. It's only 52 miles, but it's 52 miles through sand, like fine white powdery sand. And yeah, I'm hurting. That trail hurt me a lot. I've been working on editing those videos now. So I stretched that trip out to, I think, 6 days. So only me could stretch 52.7 miles into 6 days, but I had a great time. I'm trying to plot now what I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to do like a couple days on the AT, just probably somewhere in PA. There's a lot of like campsites that I saw on the PA section of the AT where I thought, man, I really want to go to that. But had I stopped like about 2 miles past the 501 shelter, there was one of the greatest campsites I saw on the entire trail. But it would have been like a 2 mile day, so I didn't go. So I might go to them. PCT, hell no. Um, I'm pretty good on long distance trails. Everything I have my eyes on right now is like under 100 miles type trail. Um, so kind of, I want to take questions about the AT because I had a lot of people asking me about them, and but basically what I'm here to announce is in May. May is the next big, big adventure. In the end of January, I start my last semester of college. I have to finish that. I have to finish this degree, this political science degree that I've been working on for so long. It's time to finish that. But start after that's done in May, I'm going to be finishing walking across the country. I left off in Casey, Illinois, and I have to walk to LA. It's not the sexiest adventure. You know, it's not as cool as the AT. There's not going to be all these cool sites and cool people. Well, maybe there'll be cool people, but there's not all these cool sites and everything, you know, and there's not hostels and shelters. And it's basically being homeless with a goal. Um, Hey, Dusty, Lori, Colorado Trail. I downloaded the Colorado Trail map. Steve Spurrier and I were supposed to do the Colorado Trail, but still waiting on old Steve to get back now. That is on my to-do list, but that's going to take some acclimation to the altitude, and I have the map. I bought the map. Um, I'll get there eventually. When you walked across the USA, did you do the river to river section in Illinois? I did not. I'm not exactly sure what that is. I entered in, I can't remember where I entered in Illinois. It was somewhere around Cloverdale, Indiana. So I think kind of like the middle of the state. And I ended up walking to Casey, Illinois, and the home of the world's largest stuff. They have like the world's largest pencil, world's largest top, rocking chair, seesaw. It's a pretty cool place. I actually just started making phone calls along the route to kind of plan out properties I could camp in and stuff. The first time attempted to walk across the country, heat is my kryptonite. What happened was I got stuck in a 105-degree heat wave and I couldn't take it anymore and I quit. Plus, I had a dog to keep safe. So uh, that time I had a crazy budget. My budget was like 15 grand. I sold my Dogecoin. I made like 17 grand off Dogecoin, and I had a crazy budget. So I could stay in hotels every night and everything. This time around, I won't be able to do all that. So I'm trying to call places like, hey, can I camp in your yard? I know it's going to be in May, but you know, my first day back on the road, it's either I do a 30-mile day, which we all know me at this point. I don't know if I could do a 30-mile day, even if it is flat and I walk 15 hours. I don't think I could physically do a 30-mile day. So I'd have to have someone pick me up midway, or have to find a place to camp, or I have to reroute. Now, if I reroute that trip, it adds like 100 miles, and I don't know. Tammy, thank you. Gretchen, thank you. Sparky One, thank you. Everyone, thank you. John, that message was retracted for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe you could focus more on the people you meet when you cross country, since it won't be a scenic. Oh, definitely. Definitely. There was something, one of my regrets about the first cross country walk was I didn't get more of the people I met on camera. I met some really, really amazing people like Margot Hall, um, everyone at Rustic Mountain Pizza in Somerset, Pennsylvania. Um, that's Ruth Ash, Don Ash, the whole family. I met some really amazing people, and I didn't really, I wasn't comfortable filming yet. I wasn't comfortable interviewing people. I wasn't comfortable talking to strangers. It was kind of, the road is different because everyone just like when you're on the AT, everyone like thinks you're so cool because you're like the cool hiker dude. But on the road, everyone thinks you're homeless. I get harassed by cops constantly, and I don't know. How long did it take to get comfortable with sleeping in the deep wilderness and sounds in the dark on the AT? So, John, that's a great question. So I didn't actually sleep outside. Like I wasn't alone on the AT till after, I want to say like 100 miles past Damascus. This truck driver and I split up, and then I was with ET and Double Wide for a little while, and then I split up from them, and then I was alone. That was somewhere like in the first third of Virginia. And the first few nights, I was terrified. That's when we were dealing with the situation. That crazy guy who thought he was God posting death threats about us. And yeah, actually, I hate to give him views, but his name is Jason Buris. Um, he was leaving some crazy. So I was kind of scared at that point. But then after a while, now I sleep better outside than I do in a house. It's pretty crazy how you adapt. And I was trying to break it down the other day. This year, I have slept outside close to 300 days, maybe more, because some of the hostels, like 0 days, I camped outside. So I probably slept outside somewhere around 315 days this year. And now, yeah, now I sleep comfortably. I sleep with my food and everything at this point. Yeah, when I'm inside a house in a bed, I just toss and turn all night. Um, I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm hot and cold. Now the sounds of nature just soothe me. But yeah, at first sleeping outside was terrifying. Um, I remember my Xped sleeping pad. It it's like 3 inches of hollow space, and it amplifies my stomach growling. And so I would hear my stomach growl and think it was something growling outside my tent, because my stomach is growling against the pad and then my ear is also, and I would like constantly freak out, look around. But as far as like wildlife and stuff, I've only had one bear encounter that was close, and then porcupines. So I never had mice tear through my stuff, nothing like that. So there's nothing outside gonna hurt you. Humans are the most dangerous animal. Well, glad you will be finishing your hike across the United States. Yes. I've had three adventures just kind of gut me. Like three adventures that were always on my mind. Had to get them out of my mind. The AT, that consumed my brain most of my life. I want to say somewhere from the age of 12 to now 37. And it's still consuming my life in a big way. There's still footage that is still stuff I got to make from the content. Like you got to put the interviews together, the final documentary, what I've been kind of working on little by little. It's overwhelming. But yeah, the AT, there's no getting rid of it. It's part of my life now. It'll always be part of my life. I thought I would hike the AT and just forget about it. Nope. It doesn't work like that. It's in me now. And then the Batona Trail, I failed on that trail. So that always was in my head. And then the cross country walk. Part of the cross country walk, the reason I've been waiting so long to do it was the first 30-mile stretch. Plus, it's extremely overwhelming. Not the walk itself, but just the act of walking alone brings tons and tons of media attention. I was in USA Today, the Asbury Park Press, the Christian Science Monitor. I was on Fox 59. I was on the big Fox, like Fox News. I was on a lot. I was on the Rat Z100. I was in a bunch of local newspapers. Um, just walking brings a lot of media attention, and that's extremely stressful. That media can go one or two ways. The story's only as good as the person writing it. So if like I remember the Rat in New Jersey, I was getting attacked because I had my dog. Like all these PETA, the algorithm brought in all these PETA nut jobs, and I was just getting attacked. And the media was the most stressful part of walking. Um, that's like 4 days for me. Are you gonna share the route you're finished? Oh, so my USA cross country route is I took my home address from Highlands, New Jersey, and a random address in LA, and I typed it into Google and I hit walk. That's the route. There is no trail. So it's not even, I do post the segment of road I walked every day at the end of those videos. If you want to go back and watch those videos, I filmed it. They're really long. I didn't know how to edit yet, and I curse a lot in them. I also drink and smoke cigarettes a lot in them. Um, you know, there's a different me. You can only judge me on the man here today, you know what I mean? But there is no route. The American Discovery Trail, I was thinking about doing that, but I wanted to push a cart, so I never did the American Discovery. Plus, I hate those trails that have two separate routes. That drives me nuts. Like if the AT had like different routes, I wouldn't even have bothered. Um, Can you go mostly cashless on the AT? Use a debit card or phone? So yeah, I was mostly cashless. The White Mountains you need cash for. It's cash or check or credit card if you have an actual legit credit card. But I opted not to carry a credit card because I knew myself. I would just swipe it. Um, and the points and all that, it wasn't worth the headache. So I carried just a Chime card, my debit card, but most hostels and everything use Venmo, PayPal, or Cash App. And yeah, everything's on a cell phone now. Or I always carry a card. I always carried like $10 cash. But yeah, I never really had an issue with cash until the White Mountains, and then Baxter State Park is cashless, or is cash only rather. But everything's like online. Done the old Peter. He done the old stomach growl and blasted his air horn. Yeah. Um, so, um, VM Nenny. Sorry. Yes, I will be fundraising. The fundraiser will be for Just Believe Inc. It's run by Paul Hulse. It's based out of Toms River, New Jersey. They actually just built the homeless veteran shelter. It's called Larry's Home. They're, excuse me, they have an Amazon wish list up on their Facebook page. It's Just Believe Inc. in Toms River, New Jersey. If you go on my Wander with Sam or Sam Green Facebook page, I shared the link to their Amazon wish list. I haven't looked at it because I had to jump on here and do the live, so I don't know what they're asking for. I believe the shelter could hold 8 veterans, and but they do a ton of other outreach like code blue zones and air conditioned zones in the summer. They do food pantry. They have their thrift store. They do tons and tons of outreach. But I will be fundraising for them again. Now, the fundraiser this time will be kind of also a protest. So that's kind of why I've been hesitant too, because it's going to be extremely political, not left or right, blue red type deal. It's going to be an attack on the mayor of Toms River, New Jersey. His name is Daniel Roderick, and excuse my French, he's a piece of shit. So the town, Just Believe Inc. got a church property donated to them, and they were going to start a shelter. Well, Daniel Roderick said he was going to eminent domain the church if they went through with that plan. Then he closed down all the code blue shelters and this, that. And this dude calls himself a Christian, goes to church, I'm sure. And that stuff doesn't fly. So this is kind of going to be like a walk as a fundraiser. But also, I'm going to be very vocal against Daniel Roderick. Yeah, I don't know. You can't call yourself a Christian and not help people, you know? Hold on, I lost my let's see. Lori, the pebble I carried from Springer. I was at the top of Katahdin with good news, and I was like, should I keep it? Should I flick it? Should I keep it? And she goes, just flick it. And I flicked it, and I thought, oh shit, I forgot to film that. So I flicked the pebble on a Katahdin, and I took a little pebble with me from Katahdin. I'll carry that to Springer if I ever do a southbound or anything like that. But yeah, and then in hindsight, after I flicked it, I was like, did I just leave a trace? Did I just leave a trace? And then I thought, the hoarder in me thought, ah, man, I could have like set that stone in resin or something, but nah, I flicked it off into Katahdin. I think I mentioned it in the video, but like just briefly. Because I am like a psychopath about leaving traces. I only left 3 traces on the trail that I know of. Dropped a water bottle in Georgia, lost a bear rope in Virginia, and then there was one other trace I lost. It was like a wad of something, and then I dropped it while I was hiking. So the pebble, even though it's just a pebble, I thought, oh, was that a trace? But yeah, I flicked it. How many times do you think you fell down on the AT? Would you ever consider a southbound through? I would 100% consider a southbound someday. Someday. Not anytime soon. I'm too slow, for one. I max out at like, I could push myself to 17, but I max out at like 12 to 14. I am too slow. And I'm still sore. I'm still sore, tired, beat up, and I've been trying to work my upper body, and I'm like my lower body hasn't even recovered yet. I will southbound, and there are parts of me where I regret not doing a yo-yo, but then I look at Katie Sutherland's pictures. She's My Struggle Bus Life on YouTube. She's walking through snow and stuff, and I thought, you know what? I'm so happy I didn't do a yo-yo in hindsight, because she started October 1st southbound. She said, "Oh, come with me," and nope, nope. um, but how many times do I think I fell down? Hundreds, hundreds of times. I fell down in the snow. I can't even tell you how many times. And then like all the scars on my legs, like that's from when I fell in front of Supernova. All my shins are just scratched up, hundreds of times. But I only actually got like hurt a few times. But lots of just little cuts and scrapes, and yeah. Starting my pilgrimage March 8th. Any advice starting in Georgia? March 8th. No, bring rain gear for March. I don't really know much about the trail in March. I started January this time, and then I started the end of February the other time. And starting at the end of February, it was just a ton of rain. It was wet and cold every single day. Just have warm clothes for the night. Make sure you keep them super, super safe. Sleep with your water filter, sleep with your electronics. And bring good rain gear. That's part of the reason I started in January as well, because it was snow, sure, but it was dry. Uh, y'all watch, y'all know I hate hiking in the rain. Towards the end of the hike, I got real good at planning my zeros around rain. Um, it's just not worth being wet and miserable. The physical aspect of the trail is already hard and miserable and painful. Why add the rain to it, you know? But starting March 8th, I don't know. Georgia's still my favorite state. Just enjoy it. That's it. Did you have some nice spots you wish you could do again on nicer weather day? Yes. I can't remember the Native American name, but Klingman's Dome. I've never had a view at Klingman's Dome. Both times I've been there, it's been foggy and wet and raining and socked in. Um, there was a couple like bald patches in Tennessee that were pretty fogged in, and I missed the views there. Um, but no, not really. The only thing I wish I went and saw that I didn't was the fire tower at the end of the Smoky Mountains, but I didn't want to add 2 miles to my day, so I could always drive back to that. Since Craig Maines asked, how many times did you fall down? I must ask, how many times did I fall up? Again, hundreds of times. But falling up doesn't hurt. Falling down hurts, like tripping. There was one though going into the NOC, and it was almost the same spot I fell in 2020. I tripped and I straight up Supermaned with my arms out and everything, and I belly flopped. And I remember just laying on the ground like, uh, uh, and truck driver goes, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Leave." No, actually, no. Then there was one in Tennessee. I belly flopped, and my arm went into some animal's hole up to my shoulder. And truck driver is like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Just fucking walk." I feel so bad, but I was in so much pain. But falling up, yeah, you're gonna fall up, down, left, right. You're gonna do all sorts of falling, all sorts of falling. Hey Jay, hey Tina. Hello from Maine. You're getting some snow up there, I bet, right now. I'm good. Craig, that's right. That's right. You're Hawk, right? Yeah. Um, she's crazy right now hiking in that. Well, I think I just saw her post. She just went into like Massachusetts or something, right? But she was crazy for Greylock in the conditions she was hiking in. And it looked like Mount Washington up there. She's nuts. She's nuts. Um, Hell yeah, that pebble represented my old life. That is for sure. I look back on some of my earlier videos and I just think, oh my God, who was that guy? Who was that guy? It's still me, but you know, it's just crazy. Lori, now that you're back in New Jersey, great food. Have you gained any weight? Oh, actually, well, I live in Pennsylvania, so I'm back in Pennsylvania, but I was just in New Jersey for the Batona Trail. But yes, so when I finished the trail, I was 213 pounds, and I've gained 10 back. But that's okay. I'm still active and everything, and I just got to keep hiking, keep moving. Just going to the gym, stuff like that. Just got to keep moving. I can't. The only reason I got so big in the first place was I worked in the food industry. Well, one, I was getting sober and I quit smoking. That there, I gained weight. I've always been pretty heavy, but working in the food industry didn't help because, you get out of work at midnight and then you eat a full meal at midnight, and it's just not a healthy lifestyle. So, because I have gained some weight back, I gotta keep my eye on that. I do take the metformin though, but I don't know. How am I dealing with post trail blues? They haven't really hit me. The first week after the trip, I thought, wow, it's really over. That's it. It's weird. I was watching this video of a woman who finished Mount Everest, and she was talking about all the years she dreamed about it, all the planning, all the training, and then when she got to the top of Everest, she thought, "Huh, this is it." And then she got back down and like, "Huh, that was it." Years for that 30-second moment. And that was kind of summoning Katahdin. Like it was this great, like spiritual moment and everything. And walking up to it, I was crying all day, and I was anxious, and I was just like going through all the thoughts. But as soon as I touched that sign, I was like, huh, that's it. Weird. Like that's it. That moment that I dreamed about for so many years. And I hate to say it, I had moments on the AT, like during the trip, that were way better feeling than summiting Katahdin. And I know that sounds crazy. Like day one on the AT, one of the best days because you're so excited. It's so new. It's so fresh. You're laying in your tent thinking, what the hell am I doing out here? And then I had moments like with truck driver. One of my favorite moments with truck driver was neither one of us were having a great time at all. And we were in a shelter in the Smoky Mountains. And I said, how you doing over there, buddy? And he goes, great. And it was like little moments like that, or like moments I had with ET and Double Wide and Banana Brittany when we were just chilling around the fire, shooting the shit. Like those moments were way better than Katahdin. But I've kind of gotten off. But post trail blues. No, no, it was the feeling I've had really is kind of what next, because part of me just wants to like hop in my van, drive off into the sunset and make content on social media. But then part of me is also, I'm 37 years old and I don't want to be a homeless loser. So there's like, it's just kind of, I wouldn't say they're blues, but they're kind of more like what next? What next kind of feeling. Uh, Klingman's Dome is hard to see on a sunny day. I've been there 10 or more times, caught in a thunderstorm this summer. That's what everyone says. That's what everyone says, that you're never going to get a view on Klingman's Dome. Same with Mount Washington. Everyone says there's only like 60 days of the year where you actually get a view on Mount Washington for 5 minutes. Elizabeth, I don't have a question. Just say hi from. Hey, hello. Thank you, Eliza. Did you really think PA rocks were that bad? I live in Cumberland Valley, PA, and hiked the trail through most of it. I didn't think it was that bad. No. Well, so from the beginning of Pennsylvania to Swatarta, some of the greatest hiking I've ever done in my entire life. Like the trails are great, just beautifully maintained. Wonderful. But from Swatarta to the Delaware Water Gap, and even like 10 miles into New Jersey, the rocks, I think my new shoes and the rocks gave me like a little bit of a plantar fasciitis, because that's when my feet That's the only time of the trail my feet legit hurt to the point where they kept me up at night. Um, but I have to go back and do that section because I'm really not sure if it was the shoes, because I switched from regular ultras to the wide version. See, I don't know. It's really hard to say. And the first day I wore those shoes was the flat section of the trail through the Cumberland Valley, where it's like 14 miles of flat, and that's where the plantar fasciitis started. Like that's where my feet hurt for the first time, and the rocks didn't help it. So I don't know. I have to go back and do it again someday and like see. I'm not sure. But as Pennsylvania as a whole, it's a long state, but I didn't think it was that bad at all. Um, let's see. I'm a chef. Totally hear you on the weight gain in the restaurant industry. Yeah, the restaurant industry is not healthy. The money is great. There's very few jobs where I can do this with bottles for 6 hours and make $200 an hour. There's very few industries like that. And I love talking with people. I loved being a bartender and a server. You're a doctor, psychiatrist, you're just, I don't know. It's a great job and the money's really great. I just can't do it anymore. It's just not a healthy job to be in, healthy industry to be in. I have carpal tunnel. My knees always hurt. My neck hurts. I think back to when I worked at the country club as garmager. I stood in front of like a 4 foot table, 8 hours a day, just looking down, cutting stuff. And then we had a window, and then they took the window away for the addition. I was like, you know what? Screw this. I got out of the kitchen. And then I moved to the front of the house, which is no better. Um, I had a lot of hair, and I don't have any gray hairs before the restaurant industry. You are uniquely good at social media. Be a homeless winner. Thank you. David, I'm not sure if I'll ever be able to through hike the AT. What sections would you suggest for someone who wants to hit some of the best highlights of the trail? um, Southern Pennsylvania, like we just said, like Quarry Gap Shelter, beautiful. Like Caledonia State Park, just beautiful, beautiful park, beautiful trail, beautiful shelters. Pennsylvania really surprised me actually. Grayson Highlands. Grayson Highlands will forever be at the top of my list. And the hiking was super easy, I think. Um, Georgia, all those southern Georgia mountains are pretty easy, like Blood Mountain, Trey Mountain. As long as you just take your time, go slow, make sure you have enough time in the day. And if you don't think you'll have enough time, make sure you have stuff to survive through the night. But yeah, so like the Georgia section, Grayson Highlands, um, Southern Pennsylvania, I say were some of the nicest plus easiest sections of the trail. And honestly, I don't necessarily think through hiking is the way to go. I think doing like a few really long lashes would be good. Now, I met all sorts of types out there. I met people that are doing like half the trail in one shot. I met people through hiking. I met people that have been hiking little sections for 20 years. The people that hike the little sections for 20 years, I think they love pain more than any. I understand time and money is a problem. For time is really is the hardest thing to get. But those people that section for 20 years, they have to regain their legs every year. And by the end of their hike, they're just getting their legs and it's time to go home. So I would say like if you broke the trail down into say 500-mile sections or something, that would be just as good as a through hike. Um, I don't know, unless you want like the social aspect, you want a tramily and all that. See, I didn't want a tramily. I didn't want to be in the hiker bubble. I was good just being around people, but I didn't want to like have a group. There's always like trail drama and stuff. So if you just want to like go hike, see the sights, just do long sections. Think it's just as good as a through. How did you decide to start on January 1st? I can't believe you and truck drivers started the trail in the middle of winter. The conditions were brutal. Um, so I chose January 1st for a lot of reasons. One, The heat bugs. Let's start with the heat. The heat is my kryptonite. I hate bugs, especially the little flying ones that go into your ears. I hate when the trail is overgrown and there's stuff touching you all day. Like when I got up into Massachusetts and Vermont and I'm walking through neck high grass, that is my personal hell. And ticks and people. People are the most dangerous animal out there. And I just didn't want to really be around people. Um, I started in 20, I hiked in 2020. I started February 20th, 2020, and I had a little group of people. It was really cool. We were having a lot of fun. But then when the March bubble caught us, it was hell. It was miserable. We all got funneled into the Smokies, and there was poop everywhere and toilet paper everywhere and people sleeping. You couldn't even find a place to pitch a tent. And I hated it. And it's a lot of like crappy personalities. I got stuck around all these like ego-y hikers that just wanted to have like dick measuring contests, like, oh, my gear is better than your gear. And blah. Meanwhile, the 17-year-old 100-pound girl with all Walmart gear is doing 30 miles a day past us. I just got stuck in a bad bubble in February 20th, 2020, like that area. So that just played a part of it. But it was January 1st. I thought it was cool because I thought it was like new year, new me, first off. Like I watched the ball countdown, went to bed, and then like I started the trail on a new year, and I thought that was really cool. And there was way less people, no heat, and truck driver and I actually we were in kind of a bubble for the first 14 days, surprisingly, but they were just really cool, like section hiker people. Um, but I just thought it was the whole trail was we had the whole trail to ourselves. Um, we could basically there was no one out there, so if it was really cold, we could set up our tent in a shelter. You can't do that in the bubble, or and I don't know. Just had the whole trail to ourselves, and for some reason, my heart just said January 1st. I the weather wasn't the weather really wasn't bad until Tennessee. Um, that's when it got really cold. That's when it was like negatives in the daylight. Um, yeah, I don't know. January 1st just seemed like a good time. And same with truck driver. He was just like, oh, why not? Yeah. Oh, and then also at the time, I was trying to rush to be back home by June 30th because I have a kettle corn business. I do popcorn at like fairs, carnivals, and stuff. And I was trying to get home in time for that, and I was making good time, but somewhere in Virginia, right around Damascus, I said, why the hell am I rushing? I've waited my whole life for this. Like, screw my business, screw my responsibilities. I'm taking my time. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to yo yo. So then I was planning on yo yoing, but then the heat slowed me down so much that a yo-yo became out of the question. And but yeah, January 1st was just because I know I'm slow and needed the time, and I was trying to be back by summer. That was another part of it. Um, the conditions, they got brutal. They did get brutal. When we were climbing in snow plus hurricane damage, it got brutal. um, Have any spots that were swarmed by tourists? Mount Washington. Yes. Not Mount Washington. I had Mount Washington completely to myself. I was at Lake of the Clouds hut. First off, I hate the clouds, and I hate the huts, and I hate the AMC. Uh, you know what? I'm going to be vocal about it. The crews are all just mean, and yeah. So basically, Lake of the Clouds. I did a work for stay, which I'm grateful for. I got to sleep on the dining room floor, but there was a couple people in there pooping and puking, and we all know what pooping and puking on a trail means. It means they have norovirus. And I said to the kid at the desk, "Do those kids have norovirus?" And the hut master goes, "It's none of his damn business if they do." Yeah, you're right. It wasn't my business, but it kind of was because it's a health problem. So basically, I woke up at 6 a.m. and I summited Mount Washington at 7 a.m. just to get the hell out of that hut and not get norovirus. And I had the whole mountain to myself. So it was nice. No lines. I hit a lot of tourists on Dragon's Tooth. And then what's that one right after Dragon Suit? McAfee Knob. Hit a lot of people, and I waited like 3 hours to film my new intro. I waited for everyone to leave and go home. Where else did I hit tourists? Um, Stairway to Heaven. Hit a lot of tourists there. Um, that's really the only three places I hit a lot of tourists, though. Um, and it was always around the holidays, like 4th of July, New Year's, Valentine's Day. Um, that's you hit a lot of tourists on like holiday weekends and stuff. Great advice. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. Dusty, about footwear. I've done loads of winter backpacking, always with the old school insulated Danner boots. They are sturdy, waterproofish, comfy, and I call them bedroom slippers. What's with the sneakers? Burr. Uh, um, I took a chance on my shoe setup in January. I did all the snow and everything just wearing Ultra Lone Peaks. I wore Ultra Lone Peak 8s, 6s, and 9s. And I just wore darn tough socks. And I was actually thinking about this the other day. I only had 2 days where my feet were uncomfortably cold. Um, Most of the snow in the south is pretty dry. And even though I was walking through 6 inches of snow, I feel like my feet never got soaking wet. And Ultra does a great thing with the darn toughs. Like as you walk, the friction dries your socks and shoes. And so I rarely had wet feet. But for whatever reason, there was 2 days where my feet were super, super cold. It was the mountain right after Stanimals around the bend. I can't remember what mountain that was. I had to stop and bust out hand warmers and put them in my shoes. And then I had one other day where my toes got really cold. I can't remember. I think it was like Mount Albert. For why they got cold those 2 days, I have no idea. But I don't know. I just took a chance. And in 2020, that was my setup too. It was darn toughs and high top Lone Peak fives or 4.5s or something. And I was good then too. I had a few days where my feet got wet, like it was wet out, so I put Ziploc bags over my shoes as like a waterproof liner. But I just got lucky, I guess. Now truck driver, he had oboes, and he had a lot of trouble with his feet getting cold. Because I think those oboes they absorb a lot of water and they never dry. Actually, most of the feet trouble I saw on the trail from other people were people that wore hiking boots like oboes, Solomons, stuff like that. The people that wore like topos, Lone Peaks, didn't seem to have much foot trouble. But I wear ultras like in my everyday life. Actually, I'll show you. Give me 1 second. Let me get the pair. Ugh. Ugh. I actually just did the Batona in them. This is the pair of ultras that I got at the Notch Hostel, and I finished the AT in them, and I just did another 50 miles in them. I was gonna yo-yo the Batona, but I decided not to. But yeah, um, so these probably have about 700 miles in them. and, but yeah, I don't know. There people hate on ultras. I got really unlucky with the Lone Peak 8s, but I got a warranty from Ultra, and I got like 500 out of one pair, and then I got like close to 800 out of the other two pairs. So I used actually the best hiking shoe I've ever worn in my entire life. But you would never be able to wear them on the Appalachian Trail. Are the Skechers restaurant non-slip shoes. Um, they're made for standing and walking. So if you're on a day hike, they are the greatest shoe to hike in. But you could never, ever wear something like that on the AT. They wouldn't last for one. Two, they would never dry. So how much did the safety materials help? That's a good question. I don't think they did help. I think the safety materials play a big part into my not being able to make big miles. Like on the Batona, I was thinking, I'm just gonna do like 15 a day because it's flat. But as soon as I busted out the safety materials, my 15 miles turned into 5 miles. So I don't know if the safety materials help. I'm actually trying to quit safety materials too, because I'm just too old for that shit, and they just don't do anything for me anymore. And I actually like I have this daydream of being 100% sober from all chemicals, like even caffeine. I don't even want to take Tylenol anymore. Not because it gives you autism, but but I want to be free from all substances. Right now, this is an addiction I'm trying to kick. Uh, so good. Um, But yeah, safety materials don't help. Some people smoke safety materials and they're running up a mountain. I met a lot of foreigners that were, I say foreigners, but they're from like Norway. They were smoking cigarettes while climbing a mountain, and I don't know. I think it just depends on who you are. Yeah. How much safety material does it take to hike the trail comfortably? I started. I started with like an ounce. I mailed myself an ounce. I was given an ounce. I would say the whole trail. Now, mind you, I was out there 9 months and 10 days. I probably smoked like quarter pound of safety materials. Could you always drive your van down? You could always drive your van to do the next through hike. True, true. Actually, when I drove it down to the Batona, the check engine light came on and annoys me. I should have changed the oil and stuff. I hope it's nothing major. It has a little exhaust leak, so I'm hoping it's just that. Um, I'm not really going anywhere too far, so I'm not going to worry about it just yet. But yeah, yeah. Wherever the next hike might be, I think I'm just going to straight up ask my dad to take me to Illinois when I go to finish cross country walk. Um, Not really sure yet. Hey Bradley, how you doing? Diana, I enjoyed meeting you at Rockfish Gap. I was dropping off Detour and gave you a ride to Waynesboro. Have enjoyed your video since then. Thank you, Diana. That was a great Trail Magic ride, first off. And Detour's a badass. Detour flew up to Katahdin. He was a man on a mission. I met Detour at the Huckleberry Farm Hostel. He was the first ever customer. I was their second ever customer, and it was cool. There were some really great people I met out there. Detour was one of them. John and Sid. Love John and Sid. Love Detour. Who else? I hiked around some really great people. Supernova, ET double wide and truck driver. You all know them. Um, God, there's so many great people I met that I can't even think of them all right now. Diana message retracted. I don't know what happened there. Offshore cargo. How you doing, offshore cargo? Any tips for a winter Nobo start? Make sure you test your sleep system first off. I had a Nemo Disco 15-degree bag that was 9 years old, and then I had two Walmart fleece blankets sewn together into a liner. And then on the really cold nights, I would throw hand warmers into the sleeping bag. I always carried about 10 hand warmers on me at all times. Now, was it heavy? My winter pack was super heavy. There was a few times where my winter pack was pushing like 45, 50 pounds. And but it was all like safety precaution stuff. So for a winter Nobo hike, it's mostly sleep system. So during the daytime in the winter, most of the time I just wore my Darn Toughs Lone Peak skaters, regular boxer brief underwears, ex officio zip off shants, and I wore a long sleeve Reebok shirt and a blue cotton zip up hoodie that was like $12 from Walmart. So like during the day, even if it was cold, it really wasn't that bad. Um, it was the times of the day where it really sucked. It sucked setting up camp and breaking down camp because you've stopped for the day, you're exposed, it's extremely cold, and then at night, um, you know, you only have from like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. to hike in the winter. It doesn't get dark till 5 p.m., but after 3 p.m., the temperature just drops so fast. You have just enough time to cook, eat, get in your sleeping bag, and you're going to be in your sleeping bag for like 14 hours a night. Now, for me, someone who loves bed rotting, that was fantastic. As long as I had cell phone service, I was great. I could edit videos. There was so much to do for me. Truck driver who is in his 60s, laying in bed for 14 hours, he was not good for him. He was in a lot of pain, his hips, his back, and everything. So I think just be prepared to be in your bag for a long time. You're not hiking before the sun comes up. And there was another thing in the winter is you have to like know when to stop. There was many times where like truck driver and I would only have like one more mile, but we had to make a call to stop there because you don't know what's in that next mile. That next mile could be a sheet of ice with a cliff, and if you pushed on and it gets dark, then you're walking on a sheet of ice on a cliff. It's safety things. You got to know when to stop, and you just have to be really prepared for sleep at night. Like I said, I had my base layers to sleep in. Then I had the Walmart blankets, my Nemo Disco 15, and hand warmers. And there was a few nights I was still a little chilly. And then I had a Canada Goose 3.5 pound jacket. Now I don't think that's necessary, but it's what I had, so it's what I used. Truck driver had like a $400 puffy. I can't remember the brand, but he was sweating sometimes. So it just depends on how much money you want to spend. But just make sure you have warm stuff for nighttime. Nighttime is super, super dangerous. But even in the dead of winter, you'll see day hikers and everything. So you're never like, and you always have cell phone service out there. Finished the Batona Trail today. Where were you? We could have hiked the Batona Trail together. That's a pretty tough trail too, isn't it? 52.7 miles of flat sand. What backpack ended up being my favorite? I was actually just thinking about that on the Batona too. I love the Hyperlight. I have the Hyperlight Southwest 70, and I have it for several reasons. It holds up to 60 pounds, which my pack will never be 60 pounds, but it holds all my winter gear. Um, it was a great pack for the spring, summer, and fall. And I don't think it would be a good pack for winter hiking. So if I ever do any of the dead of the winter hiking again, I'll still carry my Osprey Atmos AG50 because of back sweat. The Hyperlight makes your back incredibly sweaty. And my back looks like a teenage boy because the Hyperlight's constantly rubbing and my back is so broken out right now. I'm going to go to my lady and get a back facial in a week or two. But so for the winter, I would stick with my Osprey Atmos AG50 just so my back doesn't sweat, because in the winter, sweat is extremely dangerous. Sweat turns to ice, and ice on your body, you freeze to death. Once you start shivering, you're in danger. You start that internal shiver, and then your chin starts to shiver. That's when you know you are in danger. But for the spring, summer, fall, Hyperlight all day long. I love that Hyperlight. I wish I bought a Hyperlight 10 years ago. Like I said, I went with the Southwest 70 because it's bigger. And if it was really cold, it goes up to here on me. So I could have used it as an extra little sleeping bag if I had to. The material's thicker. And I think it's really comfortable. I just think it's a great, sturdy backpack. It's super simple. I hate those packs with all the bells and whistles. Even my Osprey, I cut off all the extra straps, little clips and everything, and I cut like 2 pounds off it. Like they add so much unnecessary crap, like ice axe holders. Like I don't know, So I don't know. But yeah, the Hyperlight ended up being my favorite. Um, if I ever go do like the Camino or Hadrian's Wall or something where I don't need a ton of gear, I'll get like a Hyperlight day pack. Yeah, Hyperlight is, I'm definitely going to be a forever customer uh, for Hyperlight. Um, McAmis silver question mark. I'm not exactly sure what that means. Thank you, James. Thank you. James is an OG, man. James has my videos memorized at this point. I'm forever thankful. Aaron says, you can do it, Sam. I quit the safety stuff 6 years ago after getting sober from booze, and that's when my life got much better. You can do it, and sharing it with others would be powerful. I agree. I'm reaching a point where I feel like safety material doesn't add much value to my life. And there's a lot of times where like I don't know. It just kind of I get really anxious nowadays, and it's hard to get in Pennsylvania. In New Jersey, you just walk into the safety material store, and bam, it's so easy. In Pennsylvania, it's such a pain. It's easier to get crystal meth in Pennsylvania than it is safety material, and I think that's really sad. Safety material has helped me a lot in my life. It's helped me get sober. It's helped me get through college, keep calm my nerves. It's helped me. It's helped me a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It is a medicine, and it's therapeutic. But I've reached a point in my life where I don't need the medicine anymore, and but unfortunately, I am addicted to it. That's a fact, and yeah, it is addictive. It's it don't feel good, and but yeah, I'm just kind of over it. Yeah, teach your own though. If you want to smoke, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. uh who was your favorite trail magician, and what was your favorite oh, I never heard them referred to as a trail magician. I was like, what the hell is a trail magician? um oh man, well, they're all watching, so all the ones that are watching, um I had some crazy, like Carol, like not crazy, but like some crazy, like Carol hunted me down to give me to help me out, and like that, she went above and beyond to find me. And then there's John and Vanessa, got me the chair and everything, brought me food. Vanessa gave me an AT necklace with the beads, and every bead counts as like 26 miles of trail. It's really cool. And then like Joe sent me a box with the donation plus a cook pot, my headlamp, which I still use. There was a lot. The Lost Sloth, he hooked me up. Dusty Mason hooked me up. Uh, there was a lot of them. I didn't really run into too many people just cooking food and stuff. I ran into a couple like somewhere in Virginia. They were randomly cooking food at a cabin. I can't remember the names. Like they had really, really great food. Um, there was just so much magic. Like hitching and everything, and everyone that picked me up. I only paid for like two or three shuttles the entire trail. That's how I was able to like do the trail for so cheap too. Um, do you think trail magic has gotten out of control? Too many giving, so many large meals. So there's never too much trail magic. I'm not gonna lie though, there's certain times where I come out of the woods and I see trail magic set up and I think, fucking A. Because then you gotta like stop and be social for like an hour. And then and I know that sounds really ungrateful to me, which I'm not ungrateful for the trail magic, but it's kind of like you're in a groove and then like you can't tell them no, and so there's moments like that. But no, I don't think so. Now there's a something I call trail leeches, and there are people that do magic and they call themselves trail angels, but then they ask for donations. I'm sorry, that's not trail angeling. That's a business. Like there's that one guy in Massachusetts, they call him a trail angel, but it's $20 to sleep in his yard. Now he doesn't have to do that, but that's not trail angeling. that's a business, you know. But as far as magic, nah, I don't know. Um, I was never really in the bubble, so I never got to meet Fresh Ground or any of the other people doing meals. So I didn't really have many, like, I didn't have much trail magic like up until probably the middle of the trail north. So it's hard to say. Yeah, I brought a mesh backpack grid, made my Luna on garage grown gear. Make some airspace between your back and pack. Super light too. Oh yes, yes, those grids for the hyperlight. I was looking at those, and actually, Kelly has a 3D printing business. I was gonna try to get her to hook a brother up actually, but she could just do that. Um, if money, Craig Main said, if money wasn't an issue, what would your big three look like, or would you use the same stuff? Um, I would definitely still use the hyperlight, but my sleep system, I see I'm not much of a gearhead. Most of my stuff is Walmart. Walmart, 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 you know. Over half my gear is Walmart. Um but I desperately need to upgrade my sleeping bag. It's losing feathers at a point where I don't think it's safe to use anymore. Um Yeah, hard to say. Now tent. I think I'm done with light heart gear. Light heart gear. My light heart gear So Long 6 has lasted me almost 10 years, and I'm still going to use it on small adventures. But my next tent is going to be a Durston. Um, but my cross country walk, I'm just going to use a $20 Walmart tent, um, because I'm sleeping on like, it just there's I'm pushing a cart, so weight really doesn't matter. Last time I did the cross country walk, I was pushing an 85-pound pit bull plus all my gear, so it was like 120 pounds. So gear really doesn't matter on the cross country walk. So yeah, I'm just going to use a Walmart tent. But my next like big through hike, I will keep the hyperlight, switch to a different tent, and some kind of nicer upgraded sleeping bag. Not really sure. Like I said, I'm not good. I don't know much about gear. I just kind of wing this shit and I get lucky, you know. So, um, Number Life. Hey Sam, I remember you from the 2020 AT Nobody hike. Oh, Northbound hike, Thumper. I do remember you, Thumper. Actually, vaguely. God, that was so long ago now. It's 5 years. Ugh, God, this is that gutted me. 2020, I left a six-figure job. Man, I was balling. And everything that could have ended that hike. It was a global pandemic. Who would have thought? Do you think you will hike the Florida Trail? I was actually planning on starting the Florida Trail in December. Um, but then I met with my advisor, Dr. Abongo, and he was like, he's one of the realest people you'll ever meet. And he's from Ghana, and he's just like a real stern African man, and he does not hold back. He was like, "You are 37. What the fuck are you doing with your life?" I'm like, "All right, you're right, you're right." So, Florida Trail is on the chopping block so I could finish this political science degree. And he's right. He's right. I need to finish this degree. So Florida Trail's not going anywhere, but that was the plan. But I even got into the Florida Trail like Facebook page to start picking people's brains, and that's not going to materialize, unfortunately. And the cross country walk is my next big adventure, which I'm going to do a formal announcement at the end of my Batona Trail videos. Um, but that adventure is going to require my political science degree, because this is going to be a very, very political event. And I fear that walk is going to change the course of my life pretty significantly. So I don't even know what my next trail would be. Um, when I got off the road in 2021, I had job offers from homeless organizations and stuff, and I turned them all down. But if stuff like that happens again this time, then yeah, my life is going to be very different after that walk. And yeah, I went Nobo on the Batona. Started Thursday the 20th, planned for 2 days, one night, but couldn't get packed picked up yesterday, so I slowed down and got picked up earlier today on the 22nd. I didn't think the Batona was hard though. It's pretty flat. I did the long trail earlier this year in June, and that trail is rugged, specifically north of the AT. I almost turned to go up the long trail actually. I was having way more fun on with the long trail people than I was the AT people, but unfortunately, I was out there to do the AT, so I never pushed north. Plus, I was running out of time before Catan closed. I summited Catan in 3 days before it closed, I think. So I got pretty damn lucky. The Batona, though, I got pretty lucky with Ubers, surprisingly. But yeah. Did you ever meet the six pack hikers? I didn't. That was the first family, right? I did not meet the six pack hikers. They passed me when I was on a zero somewhere. I did meet the Tolbert family though. They were the family of like nine, I think. They were great, great people. I actually did fall back to let them push ahead though. Not because they weren't good people. They were fantastic people. I let them push ahead because there was nine of them. And for example, when I was at the Ohm Dome, all nine of them booked the Ohm Dome solid. So, but they were great people. I just didn't want to be around nine people. Plus, there was like 15 others. So it was like the Tolbert family. They were booking every hostel solid. The six pack, though, yeah, I never met the six pack. That's crazy. I couldn't imagine um, hiking with a whole family. I actually asked the Tolberts, I said, how do you guys afford this? And their oldest kid goes, well, my dad's older than you and he had more time to make money. I was like, all right, good answer, kid. But I don't know how they afford it. First off, is my through hike. I'm gonna do a breakdown video eventually. I'm in no rush to do it, but I figure I spent around 3,500. Now, mind you, I didn't eat a name brand item for 9 months and 10 days. I only went to like 4 or 5 restaurants the entire trip. I only had food delivered one time and it was like Domino's with an Uber Eats deal. Um, so like right then and there, I save a ton of money. Um, I buy a lot of clearance items. I hit hiker boxes pretty hard. I only spent about 3 grand to $3,500 on food, and then I spent about $1,000 on gear and shoes, and then I spent about another 3 grand to 3,500 on lodging. I was trying to look at bank statements, and I had a lot of super generous people donate to me as I was out there. Never asked them, they just donated. Um, uh, so trying to follow bank statements and everything, I think I spent around 8 grand to $8,500 on my entire through hike for 9 months and 10 days. Now you got to remember, I got crazy, crazy, amazing trail magic. Um, I truck driver, he paid for Stanimals that one night, so like there was just I got blessed beyond my wildest dreams. But I think I spent around a little over 8 grand on my entire hike. Yeah, I don't know why I even mentioned that actually. When you get back to your hike across the USA, would you allow someone to hike with you? Oh, absolutely. Actually, whatever. It's an open road, first off, but yeah, step by step in tandem, who we met in Virginia. She wants to come out and hike apart with me. And I was thinking about trying to get ET to get off his ass and come hike a little bit. Actually, side note, double wide is at Uncle Johnny's, and he's asked me twice now to hike south with him. But I don't know. I've been kind of talking to this girl from Ohio. I want to see where that goes. I kind of feel good about this one. Yeah, so I don't know. I got to see where my life is kind of heading right now. But yeah, step by step in tandem, she's gonna walk with me, and then I was in contact with one of the reservations, and they're gonna walk with me more so to protect me from res dogs, like the wild reservation dogs. But there, I'll have an entourage through there of like 20 people. Crazy. But yeah, no, anyone who wants to walk, I'll post more about where I'm gonna be and whatnot on that. And on my cross country walk, I will be carrying a pew pew. So I don't care who joins me. On the AT, I would never, ever, ever have had a firearm. But on the road, you walk through some sketchy stuff. Like, man, I almost got taken out by two like giant dogs on a country road. So, yeah, I will be carrying old Mister Smith and Weston on my walk. So, yeah. Oh, let's see. I watched the Tolberts too. Do a long trail hike, through hike. It's awesome. I will someday. I met some great people doing the long trail. Um, Honeybee, just a lot of people that were at that, the Yellow Deli. Couple French Canadians. I had some fun with that. I can't remember. I'm so bad with names. I don't know. Part of my brain don't work, but I met a lot of great people on the long trail, man. We were at Griffith Lake and we skinny dipped, and stuff that didn't make it to the YouTube, but yeah. Great time with the long trail people. I would spend so much on food. It's tempting whenever you get to a town, you want to eat out. So, well, there's one thing about me from being in the food industry. Um, I I hate sitting in restaurants. I hate getting waited on. I've been in the industry I got into the food industry, excuse me, at like 12 years old. I hate sitting in restaurants. So right then and there, but and I always preferred to eat my own food. And most restaurants you eat at is Cisco or US Foods, and you're just paying top dollar to eat glorified cafeteria food. So I prefer to eat just on my own from a grocery store anyway. But it's tempting, you smell that Mexican restaurant in the air, or you see that Chinese buffet, and you're like, But I knew I was on a budget, and that was something I was talking to my friend about. Was God blessed me in so many ways. So like, if I was like running out of money or something, and like if I specifically needed $100, I would just say it's in God's hands, and I wouldn't even think about it. And then later that day, I would see $100 in my bank account. I had so many crazy experiences like that, but those like God gifts or trail magic ordained by God, that's stuff you can't rely on. So I just was very, very frugal. I preferred all my money to go to hostels and amenities because I like a shower and laundry every 4 days. I'm a princess. Um, I remember you doing two snowy road walks into walk to Stanimals. I saw the place for the first time doing a fall hike. Much easier with no snow. Yeah. Stanimals wasn't even open yet. We were their first customers ever, and they weren't ready. They were getting there, and truck driver was like, "Please, we are going to freeze it." Both times I've ever been on Kelly's Knob, I got my ass handed to me by Mother Nature. Um, so in 2020, we were going up Kelly's Knob, and it was like blizzard, 20, 30 mile an hour winds. We got wind burnt. We were freezing, hiking with braids. She was crying. Corncob was like, "Man, I know you hate me," because it was his idea to keep pushing, and I didn't want to push. And he goes, "I know you hate me right now." I'm like, "Shut up and walk, dude. Just shut up and walk." And so I got socked in. And then we got to the top of Kelly's Knob in 2020, and I said, "Well, Kelly could suck our knobs." And all of a sudden, the wind got like so much crazier. And then this time on Kelly's Knob, truck driver and I literally, like, from our nose over, this side was frozen, and then this side was defrosted. So if Stanimals never let us in, we would have been in deep trouble. Plus, at that time, I had gout in both ankles. So I was already hobbling and just dying. And yes, animals really, they could have possibly saved us that night. Um, I'm only 2 hours from Casey. I could do all of Illinois with you and into Missouri. Absolutely, absolutely. Find me on Facebook, Sam Green. And yeah, restaurants just aren't what they used to be up here in Canada too. Yeah, none of them are. Since COVID, the quality's gone down, service has gone down. That's kind of why I'm more or less out of the food industry. Right before COVID, I was the general manager of a Irish restaurant, the Dublin House in Red Bank, New Jersey. I had a staff of like 40 people, and I just got out of the industry at the right time, the right time. And then I went back periodically. Like I worked for a place called Woody's in New Jersey. Greatest job I've ever had in my entire life. And then I thought I was out of the food industry, and then I did part time here in Pennsylvania. But no, it's just changed. You can't find workers anymore. The food quality's gone down. The service has gone down. And then I was like pinned against the wall all the time. Like, servers were coming in late or no call, no show, and I wanted to reprimand them or fire them, but then I couldn't because who was I going to replace them with? Because no one wants to work anymore. And yeah, I had to get out of the food industry. It was just doing even my own popcorn business is just that's why I don't even want to do it anymore. 50 pounds of corn used to be $20 and now it's 46.25. Like there's no money in any of it anymore. Smoky Mountain Dave. Smoky Mountain Dave is an OG, man. Smoky Mountain Dave, he's been following since 2020. He left me a little safety materials at Newfound Gap, and it sucks because then I had to go home. So thanks for putting your hike out there for everyone to enjoy. Appreciate the straightforward, honest content. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I put a lot of work into these videos, and going into the hike, I decided that I wasn't going to hold back. I was going to put it all on the line. The good, bad, the ugly. I can't, I am kind of realizing why a lot of the big creators don't talk about 0 days or money they spend and stuff because armchair hikers like to judge. Like every time I took a zero, I'd get like, oh, another zero. And that shit. That's why IB Tat and Dixie don't really talk about zeros much anymore. They don't make a big deal about zeros anymore because people at home are so fucking annoying about that stuff. That's why I always add 0 days as like extras. Because if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it. But I promised myself and you guys that I would be completely honest about all the aspects, the money I spent, every donation I get. There's a lot of content creators that don't talk about. You'd be amazed by how many liars are out there. I know I met a few content creators, none of who I talked about publicly on here, but they don't talk about 0 days. So you think their through hike is 150 days, but their through hike was more like 200 days because they're not talking about the 50 zeros they took because they don't want to deal with the people on the internet talking bad about them. There's a lot of people that get donations on there, and I talk about that stuff because it's part of the trip. I got to be honest about it, but there's a lot of people that like have, there's one I met, she gets a lot of donations from people and she doesn't talk about any of that. And I think that's stuff that needs to be discussed. I want this to be honest. I don't want, that's why I talk about my mileage. A lot of people don't talk about their mileage on there. Like IB Tat, I don't think he talks about his mileage anymore. He just kind of posts the day and that's it. He kind of avoids the conflict nowadays. And I hate that because it's become like he's still one of the best creators on the internet on YouTube. But like, I don't know. I just always thought it was better to be honest and face the heat. Like on my Batona hike, I got rained on. There's a spoiler alert. I got poured on and everything was wet and it was going to be 31 degrees. So I got off trail for one night, and I'm going to be honest about it. I know I'm going to get some heat for it, but you just got to be honest. You just got to be honest. Um, Truth. That's why I'm a private chef now. I don't blame you, Aaron. Since that Vermont Library episode, I've been curious about your background in puppetry and performance in general. A hiking puppet channel would always be a good idea. Children would go nuts for that. I know, I know. I thought about doing some day hikes with a hand puppet or something, It's just motivation and time right now. Maybe someday in the future. I was a puppeteer. I did marionette puppet shows. If you go on YouTube and you look up Paper Moon Puppet Theater, Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. Yeah, I was a marionette puppeteer for a couple years, and one of the greatest jobs I ever had. I was making $40 an hour back in 2007 to play with dolls on strings. It was one of the greatest jobs of my life. I'll leave you a quick story about that. And then the power of puppets, okay? So we had 100 kids come to the puppet theater for a show. And these were, I don't know the proper woke terminology or anything, but these kids were severely Down syndrome, like very loud, very vocal, verbal, moving around, jittering, and yelling and whatnot. And the teachers pulled us aside and said, don't get offended. These kids are severely like autistic, Down syndrome, whatever. And don't get offended because they're never going to watch the show. And my boss, Jimmy Rassiopi at the time, was like, lady, let me handle this. He did Puxy and Ollie on Captain Kangaroo. This guy's the reason Disney princesses have the big eyes, like this. Jimmy knew his stuff, he's just, but the whole crowd was just like loud, like, and as soon as the curtains opened and the show started, you could hear a pin drop in that room. Like it was eerily silent. And that was one of the defining moments of my life. I just thought, man, the power of puppetry. These kids, medication didn't even keep them quiet, but the puppet kept them quiet. And I think that was one of the most profound moments of my entire life. But puppets, there's no money in it anymore. There's no money in it. And the problem with puppetry is you could have a job for 5 years and then one day show's over and you're unemployed for 10. And they also unionized puppetry, which pisses me off. It's called the Puppetry Guild of America. And then the University of Connecticut does a puppetry degree. And you go to you look at New York auditions and stuff, they want you to have a degree in puppetry and they want you to be part of the union. I'm not joining a puppetry union. Not happening. The haters are abused people, 100%. And Rocky Horror Picture Show, oh yeah. Yeah. Rocky Horror Picture Show will always be a part of me. But Deha, I am glad you're happy, and it makes me smile that you have a nice woman in your life. Well, she's not in my life yet, but I hope so. Only met you arrangedly at the store, but you seem very nice, genuine person. I'm happy for you. Your honesty makes you who you are, and it is why so many people follow you. And thank you. And it was great to meet you, Denise. Caught me off guard. But it was great to meet you. And yeah, now it's people like you that kept me motivated. To through hike the AT takes all of us, It's you ever fart in a Pringles can and open it in your quilt at night for a delicious warming scent? Can't say that I have, but when you fart into your sleeping bag, the smell doesn't leave. So I would find myself kind of like making it like breathe to get the smell out. So the joys of through hiking, Pony Girl. Hey, Pony Girl. Lisa, I would totally watch you hike the trail to Puppet. Maybe. Adam, Puppet Sobo, maybe. I don't know. Smoky Mountain Dave, have you ever thought about how different the hike would be? Let me start that again. Have you ever thought God, why can't I read that? Have you ever thought how different the hike would have been if you didn't do any of the YouTube along the way? Oh, 100%. I would not have had I had a crazy unique through hiking experience, and I think all the YouTubers do. That's why I love to share the people I meet uh in my videos. Is I think that's necessary. These YouTubers, like people that are bigger than me, and they're getting all this free shit from people watching and this amazing trail magic, and then they don't even offer as much as a thank you. You know, I was hiking around one girl. Someone sent her $1,000 and she didn't even say thank you. Like, you know what I mean? I thank everyone. I'm beyond. So like that, and like people hooked me up with food, gear, um, rides. Um, yeah, no, I got monetized. That helped me a lot too. I started this hike with a budget of 350 to 400 a month, and I could have made it work. I could have, but I said to God, well, first I applied for the one more day on the AT scholarship, and they denied me, but they did say I was close. So from at that day, that was when I was climbing Mount Albert, and I said, God, please, please, I want to do this. Just please, God, help me out. And 2 days later, I got monetized, and it doubled my budget. You know, that if that's not God, I don't know what is. But you know, but the monetization came from all of you guys watching my dumbass hike. And so how different my hike would have been? Oh yeah, I wouldn't have been blessed with as much trail magic as I was. I wouldn't have had enough money probably to hike. Yeah, no, it would have been just a, you know, it would have been really different. It would have been, yeah. Offshore cargo. Never let the haters get you down about speed. I did the trail in 2013 under 4 months, and I regret moving so fast. Some people are into that. It's ultimately about what you want to get out of it. And you're right. You're right. In the beginning, I was going real fast, and I was like, truck driver, let's go, let's go. You know, I was pushing him along, and it's funny because he ended up being faster than me. Um, but in the last, like, I want to say Maine, I had at least 20 people tell me they wish they hiked it like I did. And but also I was able to take as much time as I did because I started January 1st. If I started in March, I would not have made it in time. Or I would have had to push harder, but I was just so damn tired. I thought I was in way better shape than I was before I left. You know, in 2020, before I went out on the AT, I trained for months. I hiked. I carried my pack everywhere. If I was just going to the convenience store, I carried my pack. For 2020, for this hike, I didn't do a damn thing. I rolled out of bed one day and started walking. Flew to Georgia and walked. You know, I didn't do anything, so I was in really bad shape. And yeah, but most of the trolls don't bother me. Trolls are going to troll, and most of them are just like, and actually what kills me about the trolls is 75% of my following is 55 plus. So that means statistically, when someone is trolling me, they are 55 plus. That's pathetic that you're 55 plus, most likely a male, talking shit. And if the majority of my following was under like 21, I'd be like, just stupid little kids. But now it's stupid old people, not old, you know, but stupid older people, stupid AARP members trolling me, you know, and I think that's pathetic. But yeah, the people that rushed weren't having fun. They were not having fun. Um, the people that like hike in the rain and everything to prove a point, no rain, no pain, no main. Why? Why? Yeah, I don't know. Um, also keeps avocados from bruising. I wish I did carry avocados. I meant to experiment on that, but I never did. Cooper, hell yeah. Let's get together next month. Maybe we can get ET off the couch too. Trippy should be back in PA the first week of December. Absolutely. I am down anytime. Yellow, hello. And Coop and Trippy hooked me up. When I was at what's that land? Shaw's. When I was at Shaw's, I had just enough money for my resupply and the food drop. I didn't even have enough money to get home from Baxter. I was just going to put it in God's hands. And as I'm checking out of Shaw's, Coop and Trippy were like, "We paid your tab," and I'm like, "What?" It just crazy trail that I'm super thankful for. I love you guys, and I'm extremely thankful because I didn't know how I was getting home from Maine. I was just gonna wing it, and if it wasn't for you guys, I would have been in deep shit. Um, Great meeting you too. I said a nice woman in your life, not a wife. Ha. Yeah, it was interesting meeting you in a store. So I've been talking to someone from Ohio, and she watches the YouTube, and then she like came out of, and then I saw her profile on Facebook, and I sent a friend request, and we've been talking for like a couple weeks, but who knows? It's Ohio. It's 6 hours away, you know. Um, I hope it works out. She's a good Christian girl, and but it's in God's hands. Do you remember the scout troop that you met at Lake of the Clouds? Yes, I do. Uh, it was cool meeting you guys too. It brings back my Boy Scout troop never did cool stuff like that. To go out into like the mountains, like the White Mountains as a Boy Scout troop. That's so cool. We never did anything like that. I don't know why. David, hello. Um, Diane Ritchie here. We're so happy to see you. Hug Sam. God bless you. And God bless you too. It's good to see you guys here. Um, my father used to say that a young fool becomes an old fool. That is for sure. I am becoming an old fool. The trolls' lives must really suck to put it on others. That is an understatement. I've never. Sometimes I get a little smart in comment sections. Like if I see something like really, really just idiotic, I will get a little lightning fingers, but I'll never like see like, but I'm talking like Fox News. I'll be like, fuck you, but, but as far as like content creators and like YouTubers and stuff, I would never like try to belittle or talk down to anyone. I did get into a fight with a hiker back in 2020, but I I I apologized. He apologized. I think we both moved on. That was 5 or 6 years ago. I don't know, but as far as that goes, yeah, no, I don't get the thrill. Most of them are bots too. It's always the fake anonymous accounts. It's never an account with the people that make content or anything. So they're most likely just like bot farms in China or India that are leaving these crappy comments, and some of them really hurt though. There's a few that will hurt your feelings. Most of them just like whatever, block and delete. But there was a couple comments where I was like, oh, like yeah, I can't even think of any. It's not even worth thinking about. But yeah, no, they're just sad. They're just sad people that'll never be out there myself. And I always say like, say that shit to my face because I bet you wouldn't. Um, pissing blood. I always love seeing that name. What advice would I give to a 2026 through hiker? Make sure you have time. There's a lot of advice. There's a lot of advice actually. Time. Make sure you have time. Time is the most valuable thing out there. I saw a lot of people, I did see people run out of money. I saw people quit because they got hurt. But the majority of the people I saw quit, I want to say most, yeah, like yeah, the majority of the people I saw that quit, they quit because they ran out of time. Have the time. I would also suggest um not getting so caught up. Sorry, I have something in my eye. Not getting so caught up in a tramily. I saw a lot of just tramily drama that I just wanted to stay away from. And then you see like like tramilies, there would be like 7 dudes with 1 or 2 women. And I always felt bad for the women in those tramilies because they're like hanging around those guys to feel safer. But then all those guys are trying to get into their pants, and there was a lot of just tramily drama. Like this one said that one, and this one finally got the girl, and then the other 6 people hated that guy because he got the girl that they all wanted. And I don't know. I would suggest like being around a tramily, but not getting too involved in a tramily. What else? Just kind of stay out of the drama. There's a lot of drama out there. You'd be really surprised. I wanted to film a lot of it, but I don't put people on camera unless I get their permission or unless they get caught in the background. But I just saw a lot of drama out there. Like, just stay cool. Leave no trace. But just time. Make sure you have the time. Enjoy it. Enjoy every second of it. Even the days that suck. I only thought about quitting one time out there, and that was on my way to Upper Goose Pond Cabin. It was like 100 and something degrees, 88% humidity. I thought I was going to die. I thought I was in trouble. That was the only day I ever thought about quitting out there. But even when I look back on that day, it was still a fantastic, amazing, wonderful day. And I was surrounded by amazing people when I got to Upper Goose Pond Cabin. And um, so just embrace the suck because even the suck is good. Just enjoy every single second of it. Stop and sit on a rock. Um, I'll never forget Goldilocks. She was a hiker. Her husband would follow her, but I was sitting on a rock. I think it was like the Kinsmans, and she goes, "What are you doing sitting on a rock? You're supposed to hike." And I said, "You never stopped in the woods and sat on a damn rock?" And I don't know, just from that moment on, I was just like, that was kind of my thing, was like, just stop and sit on a rock. Stop and look at the little caterpillar walking across the road, smell the flowers, stop and eat the blueberries, talk to people. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy every second of it. But have the time. I hiked Katahdin 2 times with my Boy Scout Troop 54 in New Jersey. It's what made me want to do the AT. Man, see, and you guys did Katahdin. I was in Troop 22 in New Jersey. We didn't do anything cool. Actually, we did. It was so boring that I quit and joined the Sea Scouts because it was co-ed, and at least I could make out in the on the. um, but yeah, that's really cool that you guys like did cool stuff like that. Um, that was crazy. I loved Goose Pond Cabin. Goose Pond Cabin was a great place. It was a really, really great place. I wish I got there earlier in the day. It was just a bad day for me. It was just hot. The heat sucked. The water was bad that whole day. I was dehydrated, but yeah, the cabin itself was great. That would be something I would drive to in the future just to hang out. Definitely. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of out of stuff to talk about. Anyone have any other questions? Yeah. Basically, if you have any questions, drop them real quick. But basically, moving forward, I have a couple little videos that I'm going to post, like my journey to minimalism. I'm still slowly getting rid of stuff. Um, I'll never fully be a minimalist, but I'm at least trying to get rid of stuff. A fart montage video. That would be hilarious. I was actually going through the Batona footage. I didn't fart once on camera that whole trip. I don't know why. ET said we were so gassy on the AT because we're burning calories and it's exhaust, and I believe that actually. Because I never broke a sweat on the Batona, so I never got gassy. I don't know. And peanut butter just makes me a fart machine. I don't know why. Um, what would you say was your most pivotal moment on the AT and what made it stand out? Hmm. Pivotal moment. I had a couple really early on. The the um the Grove Hostel was one of like the defining moments of the trip. Meeting Kat, the muralist, she said I needed to slow down, and I'm exactly where I needed to be here now. And those are phrases that stuck with me the entire hike. Um, and then my time on every clip I made in my last video were what I considered pivotal moments of my hike. Like when truck driver and I hit 100, when I was twirling around on standing Indian Mountain, that was a pivotal moment. Um, one of the greatest moments of my entire hike was when I was at Rambling Roots. Um, because at the time I was still just really, really just down on myself. And Bookie, Zero Day, TerraTrex, uh, Top Shelf, and Truck Driver just made that a wonderful experience. And from I feel like Rambling Roots on, my hike was not the same. Like from that moment on, I was a different person. You can watch the video. It's the Spark coming back video. That was a pivotal moment. That was one of the moments where I thought, okay, life is not as bad as I thought it was. Um, and then when I crossed into Vermont, I don't know why that was such an emotional moment. Just like it felt like I achieved something. It was like one of the greatest moments on the hike. I don't know if it was the heat stroke I was facing or what, but it was just a wonderful, wonderful moment. Like I said, Katahdin was not the best moment of the entire hike, which surprises me because as I was walking towards Katahdin, I had all these monologues in my head. Like I had this idea of doing like the countdown, like 10, and then it would be like 10, I'm not a fat loser anymore. 9, I am happy. You know, I had all these like monologues in my head and like ways I was going to end it. But when I got to Katahdin, I was just like, this is it. This wasn't the crazy fireworks moment that I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like champagne bottles popping and shit, you know, and it wasn't like that. But like moments like Rambling Roots Hostel, the Grove Hostel. Um, One of my greatest days was I we did like a 4 mile day, and it was this girl, can't remember her name. I think it was like Poppy or something. She was hiking with her dog, and then it was Sid and John. And we were just sitting in a shelter, just hanging out, talking all day, just talking about everything, talking about philosophy, aliens, and yeah, and that was like one of the greatest days of the entire trip. And it was just like a mixture of all those like weird little moments that like slowly made me happy as the hike went on, you know, and it was just like, I don't know. Yeah. um, uh-oh. Where do we go? Where do we go? Fart montage. I got that. Pivotal moments. Got that. No question. Just checking in to say it was a great follow. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jay Savage. Um, Also, you wanted to make the flower video. Yes, yes. I'm still going through all that footage. I think I have like 283 videos to go through. It's like 70 hours of good footage. Hank, you're welcome. Aaron, that time you were at the place where you quit in 2020, you filmed a short. Oh, that was a great moment too at Newfound Gap. The can't stop, won't stop. Now, I wish I came up with something a little not so corny, you know, something a little more. I was just in my feels, you know. Everything I do is one. So my intro of the day and my outro of the day, I will do multiple takes of that, but everything in between is all legit. Like I film it as it comes, one shot. I do not backtrack. I do not film the trail behind me. It's all forward. The only fake thing I do in my videos are the walking shots where I put the camera, walk back and walk, but it's all like legit one shot, one take. So the Newfound Gap video, I look back and I kind of like sink into myself. Like it was a little cringy. I wish I came up with something better, but I was in my feels. Man, if Truck Driver and I didn't get off the trail that day, we would have been in deep, deep trouble. During that same rainstorm, 3 miles from us, a woman named Ann Houston died. So that could have been Truck Driver and I had we not gotten the ride off the mountain that day. Um, So that was a crazy moment, but it was also crazy because I didn't know that's where my hike was going to end in 2020. I was going to go down to Gatlinburg because I ate all my food and I was going to come back up to the trail. And we got down to Gatlinburg and it was that scene where Trump and everyone had the masks on and they were doing the press conference. And yeah, we realized COVID was here. And yeah, yeah. Then I waited there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks to slow the curve. It never curved. And I beat myself up for 5 years wondering if it was me that ended that hike and my alcoholism, or if it was COVID. And when I made it back to that point, I just kind of knew it wasn't me. It was COVID and peer pressure from people on the internet. Um, First few weeks on trail, what mileage would you realistically, excuse me, first few weeks on the trail, what mileage would you realistically start with? 8 miles. Um, 8 miles. I think I did 8 miles a day until like the 100-mile mark. And I think, but I also walked through a lot of snow. So let's say 8 to 12, 8 to 12 realistically. Um, I did do the half-gallon challenge, but I failed. And I do want to go back and reattempt it, but I'm on metformin and I don't know if I could take a GLP-1 and eat that much sugar in one sitting. I don't think it would be wise. But I think my strategy was off. I got the banana pudding ice cream and I think it was too heavy. Well, one, it was 44 degrees and raining. So right there, we were all shivering trying to do the damn half-gallon challenge. But also, I had the banana pudding ice cream. And I think had I gone with something like chocolate or vanilla and then mixed it with a flavor like so you get the one big ice cream and then you get a smaller ice cream and that's the half gallon. And she had like a plain flavor as the big one, but then she had like coffee or something as the side flavor, and she used it as a palate cleanser. And I think if I'd done that strategy, um, the record holder was like 3 minutes and 28 seconds or something like that. And it was like August, so it was hot and it was easy to eat ice cream when it's melting. I wouldn't recommend doing the half-gallon challenge in 44 degrees rain. But I am going to go back and do it one day because I can't believe I failed it. I took a wooden spoon anyway, but um, you should see Peg Leg's completion of the CYTC. She barely celebrated, and you could tell she wasn't feeling it. Yeah, Peg Leg. I have to give her credit. I'm not gonna lie. I don't watch her stuff. But not that it's bad or anything. I just don't watch it. But I am incredibly impressed with her determination and going over 8,000 miles in 1 year, like border to border to border. That's just freaking crazy to me. And Peg Leg is a good example of internet trolls not caring about who you are, because Peg Leg does like 40 miles a day and she still gets trolls over her mileage. So it really doesn't matter. I have read some of Peg Leg's comments and stuff. I read comments of like Stella and everything just to compare. They get a lot worse than I do, so I shouldn't even complain. Like some people like really lay into Stella for some reason, and I think Stella is one of the most amazing people I've ever met, not just on the trail. But Pegleg, she gets it all. Like she does have a habit of staring at herself while she films. So this is me staring at myself, and it's really uncomfortable. But this is me staring into the camera. It's more personal. So she gets a lot of hate for that. But people hate on her for her mileage. And I'm like, you're doing 40 a day and you're still getting hate. It's just nuts to me. Dale Hart. Dale. Hey Sam, missed the beginning and I'll have to go back and watch this in its entirety, but I wanted to say, hey, missing your hiking videos, brother, and I hope you're doing well. Much love, bro. Dale Hart hooked me up with Trail Magic too, and I really, really appreciate you, Dale. You helped me out a lot. Um, I had a package that I meant to write my dad's address on it, and I wrote the address for across the street on it. And I had a couple trinkets in that package. I had a pair of Darn Tough socks, $54 worth of Darn Tough socks, which pisses me off because I warranty them. I bought a pair of Darn Tough socks 10 years ago and I haven't bought a pair since. The alpaca limited edition hoodie that Joe gave me, and some trinkets like Dale Hart's handwritten letter and a couple little trinkets were in that package. And the scumbag meth heads across the street kept the package. And I was trying to get it back for them. I was being reasonable, asking them for it, wrote them a note, and they're just being typical Shamokin scumbags and white trash meth head scumbags. And they kept the package, and I'm waiting for that fat piece of shit to wear that alpaca hoodie out so I could rip it off his body and I'll go do a weekend in county because 3 hots and a cot for a weekend wouldn't be a bad vacation at this point. But I'm pissed off about the darn tough socks. But it's like the sentimental trinkets that I'm never gonna replace, like the alpaca hoodie and a handwritten letter from someone who watches me, and they kept it. And that just it's just such scummy behavior. And the post office said there was nothing I could do about it because I wrote the wrong address on it. Even if my name was on it, they broke no crime. They didn't break a law. So yeah, then I was gonna go the psycho route and just slander the dude around town because it's easy. But I thought, nah, I just hiked the trail, trying to be a better person. There's no reason for me to be be crazy like I was pre-trail. Like pre-trail, I would have started like making sure that guy lost his job, but I'm trying to be a better person here. So we're gonna let him keep the darn tough socks. That, mind you, the alpaca hoodie and the darn tough socks, I didn't wash for about 200 miles. So I know when they opened that package, I stunk up their whole entire apartment because I sent it home from Rangeley, Maine to Shamokin in the summer. I know that stuff was rank when they opened it. They probably just threw it away, but they know I live across the street. They could have just walked it across the street, and but anyway, Dale Hart, thank you. Thank you for the letter. At least I filmed myself reading it. Um, Shout out you, man. We ate ice cream together at the mansion. Haha, Apple. Yeah, so you know how cold it was when we were trying to do that challenge. I think only one person there that day finished it. Um, Georgia section is set up of 8 miles or 16 a day. Yes, it is. I think the Georgia section is some of the greatest hiking on the trail too. Some of the greatest views, greatest shelters, greatest water sources. Um, yeah, I don't know. Georgia and like a little bit of North Carolina. Oh crap. Oh, are we here? Okay. Jay, how's it going? It's going great, Jay. It's going great. Uh, Candy B, what was the hardest day mentally and what kept you moving forward? Hardest day mentally. There was a couple. Around Pond Mountain, Vandeventer Shelter. That's the video I labeled as the AT obstacle course. We were only doing like 7 miles that day or something, but we had to climb trees every like 100 feet. And after climbing literally the 50th tree, I was so done. I was so done. And then we got to the top of the mountain, and that's where I met ET for the first time. Um, we all got lost in this big mess. Like truck driver was a quarter mile away. ET was lost in the middle. We were yelling to each other, whistling to each other. That was one of the hardest days on trail for me mentally. There was a lot of really, really hard days, but that one stands out. The day going into Newfound Gap was mentally hard because I seriously thought I was in trouble. That was the only day where I thought, uh-oh, I am in danger. Was going to Newfound Gap. It's not only is it like the highest peak of the entire trail, we were trying to do it in 4 foot snowdrifts in the torrential downpour. That day was brutal, brutal. And truck driver, he was struggling. I was like, dude, I'm not explaining to your 12-year-old kid why his dad's dead. Let's go. And we made it. We made it through it. And but we came close. That lady died 3 miles from us. That'll stick with me for the rest of my life. So those 2 days were hard. And then Upper Goose Pond Cabin Day was hard, but pushing, I just knew I had to finish the trail. I knew my life could not go on if I failed again. If I failed the trail again, like I don't want to say fail, but if I quit the trail again, there was going to be no third time. Um, Something about the AT with me, it has to be pure, like nonstop, bottom to top. Like if I quit again, I would not have restarted at Newfound Gap or wherever. So the pressure was on. Just I had to finish. I just had to finish, and that's what kept me going north, is having to finish. And plus all the trail magic and amazing opportunities that opened up for me because of the trail. If I quit, I would have been so embarrassed. And yeah. Congratulations, Sam. Proud of you, and you're an inspiration. Thank you, Foxtrot. Um, the restoration shop. She's back in Florida looking to do 10K for the year. Peg leg is. That's crazy. So she has the women's world record. I think she has the record period for the most miles in a year. It's crazy. Stella is sweet. I love Stella. She passed me technically 3 times. For what took me to do 1,000 miles, Stella did like, or excuse me, it took me 1,500 miles. I can't figure out how to word it. Stella did 3,500 miles in the amount of time it took me to go 1,500. It's crazy. Watch all your videos, brother man. You got me through some hard times. Living through you. Thanks for your love. And thank you for watching. I'm glad that I could help. I don't like to call myself no inspiration or anything like that. I'm just a guy who, I'm in this for the game of it. I was posting my cross country videos and they were getting like 50 views each. So I'm in this for the love of it. The monetization is just a great perk, but I just love that people watch it and have taken something from it, and it makes me feel great. Hike with Mike. Hey folks, Hike with Mike. How you doing? Dylan, what's your favorite state to hike on the trail? And he never gave your package back. No. No, and I appreciate Dylan. Dylan messaged that guy too and is like, dude, just give him the package back. And the guy played stupid, like he didn't know I was trying to get a hold of him. But Georgia. Georgia was the best state of the trail. No, I will do the Florida Trail someday, but I haven't. No. I prefer to sit on Clearwater Beach when I'm in Florida. Beverly, NC here. Thank you for filming and sharing all the whimsical and weird bits of nature. Those are the magical moments. They are. They are. Absolutely. That night, I think it was Pennsylvania when I got surrounded by porcupines. That was a crazy moment. That was a great moment. And someone told me that porcupines usually hang out alone. So to see 8 of them in a group like that, that means I encounter them during mating season. And she said this lady was telling me scientists would post up in the woods for weeks to see what I just hiked into. And then I had a couple like wildflower people tell me that the wildflowers I was seeing, like lady slippers, are flowers that physically they could not hike high enough to get to, or I was seeing and filming flowers that they've been looking for their entire life. And I just walked, walked past them. I was just walking. Yeah. Punisher, Pegleg, and Slide are all going for over 10,000. Pegleg is my hero, but you are more fun to watch. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Pegleg it's incredible. It's incredible what she does. And Slide, I didn't know Slide actually films. I met Slide going up over uh, Max Patch. And I didn't know I thought he was just Triple Crown, and I didn't know he was doing all that. And Punisher, I don't know anything really about Punisher. I know he and Pegleg were hiking together. I think I saw a post about him, but I'm not going to lie to you. Nowadays, I really only watch Dixie and IB Tat, or if there's someone like really, really incredible that I happen to just like stop on. I used to religiously watch like Hiker Trash video. I hope he's still alive. He's the guy. He was a kind of a no one in the AT community liked him, but I learned most of what I know about through hiking from his videos. Their Hiker Trash video. I think his trail name was 7. Last I heard, he was in jail for child support. That was like 10 years ago. So I don't know. All I know is no one liked him. He was a trail leech, I guess. but he was super educational. He just fell off. But like Dixie and Ivy Tad are still pretty legit, even though they've changed a lot. Um, and then there was this one girl I was watching for a while. She was filming her through hike. She was posting her through hike the year after she did it. She was really great. I can't remember her name, but I kind of don't like watching people hike. Most of the stuff I watch is like politics. I'm yeah. So I watch a lot of news. Um, let's see. Oh, why is it? The best medicine in the world is to walk in the woods. Amen, brother. You got that right. I grew up in Dundon. Honeymoon Island is so much better than Clearwater Beach. I bet it is. I bet it is. But Clearwater is just what I know. I tried to live in Clearwater. I couldn't get a job. The baby bird moment was amazing. There was a couple of those. Can't remember which one. The squirrels. The squirrels kind of eat me alive all the time too. I really wish I did more to try to save that squirrel. That was at the lemon squeezer. Jeff, MP3. Hey, Toasty, enjoyed following your through vlog. I like that you were both irreverent, and reverent, you know what I mean. And yeah, I'm good and bad. Also, greatly enjoyed meeting you on the trail in Vermont when you came upon me talking with Chief. Uh, it was great meeting you. It always takes me by surprise. And Chief, I ran into him a few times. I wonder if he finished. He was kind of struggling with a leg injury. Um, but I wonder what happened to him. I really wish I got his information because I really loved just talking to Chief. He was a great guy. He's a great guy. And it's so rare. Like, I don't want to say hiking is predominantly white. And to see people from other cultures and backgrounds hiking the trail, like seeing black people on the trail is like is kind of cool, because it's not many black people hike. Yeah, and it's cool to see diversity out there. But Chief is an Indian fellow, like from India. And I think that's pretty cool too, because there's not many cultures. In fact, I admittedly only have like 5 black friends, but all of them think this is like crazy white people shit. And yeah, kind of, I don't know. But Chief, I love Chief. I would, like I said, I wish I got his information. I would have loved to stay in contact with him. But that's ridiculous that he didn't give it back. Sorry, brother. You were my favorite coworker at Rick's. Rick's is a long time ago. Fuck that place. You're 100% correct. Rick's. I don't even think it's there anymore, but it was this restaurant we worked for in Lewisburg. What a shit show. And I tried to tell the owner that their GM was stealing from them. And then they all turned on me and said I was jealous of him because he got the GM job and I didn't. And then 5 years later, the owner of that restaurant sent me a message apologizing for accusing me because he was wanted by the police and they were looking for him in Las Vegas. And I said, see, Jess, I was right. And I tried to tell you this guy was robbing you blind and you wanted to accuse me of being jealous. So you reap what you sow, lady. I've been in the food industry 26 years or so. I know the food industry better than the back of my hand. You know what I mean? And I don't know. What camera do you film with on the trail? I use a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. And I have a GoPro, but I think the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra gives way better camera quality and it's easy. It just keeps everything compacted. It's my camera, my video camera, my internet, it's my editing. It does all my music, YouTube. Grandma Gatewood would have a stroke if she knew that I have my map and everything right in my pocket. My credit card, my map, my filming studio, everything is right in my pocket. So yeah, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. I am going to upgrade to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra though. Yeah. Vanessa here. Hey, Vanessa. Thank you for sharing, Sam. Your videos brighten my days. Looking forward to the rest of your journey. John and Vanessa helped me out just in so many ways. Just talk about incredible trail magic. They bought me the Heelanog Zero chair, tons of hiker food, money, the necklace. Um, they paid for my stay at Madison Springs Hut. I know Vanessa said not to thank her publicly anymore, but sorry, sorry, Vanessa. But it's a Scottish name. Hmm. You could always do the hiker yearbook. I don't think anyone is. I met a guy near South Arm Road on the trail who could not speak an ounce of English. I think he might have been from China. Oh yeah, that was Kwan. I think. I think that was Kwan. He was from South Korea. There was a lot of people from other countries out there. I met a lot of South Koreans, a lot of Germans, a lot of Canadians, um, French. The French kid didn't even filter his water, which I thought was crazy. But he said, he goes, "It's America. If the water's bad, they have to put a sign up that says the water's bad and you'll get sick from it." And I was thinking, yeah, if you're in New York City, they're not going to put up signs saying the water's bad in the middle of the wilderness. So he had this idea where he didn't have to filter his water from streams and ponds in the wilderness because he thought the American government would put up a sign saying the water's not safe to drink. And I'm like, dude, no, you got it all wrong. But he finished the trail without filtering water, which I thought was, he said the water in America is better than water in France, and he wasn't going to filter American water. And I thought that was pretty crazy. But I think you met Kwan. I'm not sure though. We communicated. Yeah, yeah. You told me about the translator on his phone. Yeah, that sounds like Kwan. I saw that he finished while watching someone else's YouTube. Yeah. Um, what advice do you have us starting in Georgia on January 1st? As I kind of answered before, warm gear. Make sure you have warm nighttime gear. Um, Hiking during the day, I just wore Darn Toughs, Ultras, my Gators, zip off short pants, long sleeve shirt, and I wore a $12 cotton hoodie from Walmart. But during the night, I had a 15-degree bag, two fleece blankets sewn into a liner. I put hand warmers in that sleeping bag. I wore a Canada Goose jacket and I had layers for sleep. So from the hours of 3 p.m. till about 8 a.m. are life or death dangerously cold. So make sure your sleep system is solid. Um, yeah. And January 1st, always be mindful of weather and sunrise and sun up. Don't ever night hike in the winter. Don't ever night hike in the winter. Is You'll die. You'll die. I'm not even trying to be dramatic. You'll die. There was many situations that I wanted to talk about, but in the beginning, there was a couple of reasons I didn't talk about certain situations. Because one, I didn't want to scare truck driver's family to death, because if truck driver's family knew some of the situations we were in, truck driver's wife would have been down there to pick his ass up real quick. There was a lot of really dangerous situations, and just be prepared for the cold. Just be mindful of the weather. If you see a snowstorm 4 days out, make sure you're off the trail in 4 days. Yeah. But yeah. Rick shut down forever ago. They were shit. Had a breakdown because I was the only dishwasher for months. They wouldn't even hire anyone. I was 18 with no work experience, and they expected the most from me. So I yelled at Jess and her husband and left. And Donnie, you got that right, Dylan. You got that right. I forgot about Donnie. How about that? He smiled more than anyone I've ever seen. So cool and brave to hike without knowing any English. I was so glad he finished. Yeah, it might have been K1. That also could have been Bamboo and his wife, too. They were from Japan. I only met them briefly. They didn't speak any English as well. I met them in New Jersey. Um, you look good. I hope you're adjusting the life off the trail. The best I could. Best I can, rather. Thank you. It's just the camera angle. So if I put the camera down, you see my double chin. So just a good camera angle, you know. The American government doesn't care if we drink clean water or not. No, no, they do not. Look at Flint. The water in America is better than France. I'm not drinking Perrier now. I know, right? Yeah, that's what he said. It's not what I said. So I never been to France. I don't know. I have zero interest in going to most of Europe. um, France, Paris. I could care less about ever seeing Paris. Um, but I remember though when you spoke about your hiking aspirations, it was cool to see you document the hike. Yeah, I've been talking about this shit for a long time, a long time. Um, even the cross country walk. A friend of mine said he remembered me when we were like teenagers. He remembered me talking about it. I hate the cold, but I am from the swamps of Florida. Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you there. Uh, I love the Florida heat. Love Florida heat. I have to admit, when you live streamed your summit and said my name out loud on Mama K, one of my top 5 moments. Hell yeah, Beverly. It's awesome. I can't believe I had service up there. Yeah. You have such an amazing memory. Sometimes. Selective. Select. I can't remember people's names. You tell me your name, I will forget it. Not even 2 minutes from now. But I learned about a historic fact from 400 AD, and I remember it's amazing. No, he was alone. I bumped him in a Rangeley a few days later too, and he was solo. Yeah, that sounds like Kwan. Unless there was someone else that passed me, very well could have been. I'm not really sure, but man, I am parched. All this talking. I haven't done this much talking in a while. Should have had water. It's like 10 o'clock and I'm drinking caffeine. Anyway, so yeah, moving forward, the next few days, I'm going to wrap this up. The next few days, I'm going to be posting one more minimalist video. And then I'm going to be posting my Batona videos. And then in between from December to May, I think I'm going to just fill my time with like little day hikes, little adventures. I'm going to New York for a couple days. I'll film that, just like little things. I want to do a couple little foodie reviews for like Shamokin Coal Region food. And then just a couple short hikes. Nothing crazy. I'm talking like 30 mile here, 40 mile there, but you know me, that'll be like 3 or 4 days. Um, but the next major adventure, which I'm going to be posting a lot about starting in probably beginning of April, will be the cross country walk. I'm not restarting. I'm picking up in Casey, Illinois at the church I left off at. I already called them. I'm good to go to sleep in their property. So I'll be starting at that church. It's like the Reformed something church of Casey. And then they had a new pastor. That was a pain, but I'll be starting there and then I'll be walking to LA. And it's going to be a fundraiser and I'll be making a whole presentation on it. And homelessness is, in New Jersey, homelessness is up 12%. And throughout the entire country, it's up like 22% or something like that. And there's like crazier things too, like stayed with that tent all the way to the end. I know. I'm just too broke to buy another tent. Um, like homelessness, we have last year we had 38,000 homeless veterans sleeping on our streets. And we had, at the end of the year, we had 30,000 homeless veteran housing vouchers go unused. So we have 38,000 homeless veterans and 30,000 vouchers that could have gotten these people off the streets went unused. And they say it's because of a staffing issue. No, it's not. It's because they don't give a shit about homeless people in this country. And meanwhile, like illegal immigrants were staying in $400 a night hotels in New York City. That's wrong, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the walk across the country. And my goal is just to bring more awareness to the problem in New Jersey. 12% increase in homelessness in one of the richest states in the country, one of the richest blue states in the country too. And we have homelessness went up 12%. And that's something I want to bring some awareness to on this trip. And so, yeah, I'm going to be taking off somewhere in the middle of May, but I'll start talking about it and posting about it in April. And then in between, I just have little adventures. But for now, the AT is behind me. There's really nothing. I'm going to post a couple little things about the AT, like the flower video, my interviews, and then I am working on the full documentary, but that's a big, big project. And it'll come out when it comes out. I'm not setting a date on that. I'm just going to slowly work on that, you know, as when I have time. But keep an eye out for the Batona Trail videos. And thank you, James. Thank you for the Samsung fun. Thank you. I actually have to get the screen fixed on this. I broke it in Pennsylvania and I still haven't gotten this screen fixed. Um, but each and every one of you, thank you for following along. Thank you for supporting me. Just each and every one of you helped inspire and motivate me to finish this trip. The trail's 2197.4, but realistically, I walked probably 2,500 miles, and all of you just, you have no idea how much you helped me, from Trail Magic to your love and support to the monetization. Just viewing, just watching the content helps me hike. And I'm so thankful to either one, to every single one of you. And I love each and every one of you. But for now, yeah, we're going to wrap this up. And all your comments too, by the way, and under my videos, I read every comment. I just can't respond to every single comment, but I'm going to be working on that over the course of the next few weeks. And yeah, but that's all I could think of to report on. Hey, today was a great day. I hope you had a great day. You're all great, and God is great. And just know how God loves you, whether you believe it or not, or whether you feel it or you don't. Just God loves you, and God is great. And it might not always seem like God loves you, but God always does love you, in the good, bad, thick, and thin. And God is always great. And just have faith, love, and hope. Faith, love, and hope, and your life will be just so great. Just so great. Just so great. Don't ever lose your faith, love, and hope. And yeah, please like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll see you next time, you sexy, sexy people. I love each and every one of you. And yeah, I'll see you later. Have a great night. Bye.